The doors opened at 4:58 a.m. 2 minutes early. The crowd surged forward like a wave breaking against rocks. And in that moment, everything fell apart. Bodies pressed together, screams rising, the sound of something cracking underfoot. And somewhere in that chaos, a woman realized she couldn't find her daughter. She was just gone. Black Friday. The day, we're told, is about deals, savings, family traditions. But there are stories beneath the surface, stories that never made the news, stories whispered by those who survived the crush, the panic, the darkness that comes when thousands of people lose control at once. These are 9 true accounts. 9 moments when shopping turned into something else entirely. Something that leaves scars. Some of these people were just doing their jobs. Others were looking for a gift, a bargain, a moment of hope in hard times. None of them expected what happened next. Before we step into the madness, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Here at Chills from Reality, every story leaves a mark. One you might not forget. And trust me, you'll want to stay with us through every single one of these. Because what you're about to hear isn't fiction. It's memory, raw and unfiltered. Let's begin. The first story comes from a man named Derek. He works security at a big box store in Pennsylvania. 3rd year doing Black Friday. He thought he'd seen it all. He was wrong. The parking lot filled up around 2 a.m., cars circling like vultures, people bundled in coats and blankets waiting. The air was cold enough to see every breath, and Derek watched from inside, coffee in hand, as the crowd grew denser. By 4 a.m., there were maybe 800 people pressed against the doors. The manager gave the signal. Unlock at 5. Standard procedure. Derek moved to his position near electronics. High theft area. Always was. But when those doors opened, something shifted. The sound hit him first. Not cheering, not excitement. It was deeper than that. Primal. A roar that vibrated through the floor. People weren't walking. They were running, sprinting, shoving. A woman in her 60s got knocked sideways into a display of DVDs. She went down hard, and Derek saw 3 people step over her without stopping. He moved toward her, but the crowd kept coming. A river of bodies pouring through every entrance. His radio crackled. Multiple people down near the front. His manager's voice was strained, panicked. Derek reached the woman and pulled her up. Her glasses were cracked, blood on her lip. She was shaking, disoriented. He got her to the side, to the employee hallway, and when he turned back, the store had become unrecognizable. Aisles clogged with people, shelves being ripped apart, not browsing, tearing, grabbing, screaming at each other over televisions, game consoles, anything marked down. And then he saw it. Near the toy section, 2 men fighting, actually fighting, fists swinging over a box, a gaming system. One of them hit the other so hard the man stumbled backward into a shelf. It tipped, slow at first, then faster. Toys exploded across the floor. The shelf crashed down. People scattered. And Derek heard a scream that cut through everything else. A child pinned under the metal frame. Derek sprinted, shoved people aside, reached the boy, maybe 9 years old, trapped from the waist down. His mother was there, hysterical, pulling at the shelf. Derek called for help on his radio, and 2 other employees came running. They lifted it together. The boy's legs were bruised but not broken. The mother was sobbing, holding him, and Derek looked around at the chaos still swirling. Nobody else had stopped. Nobody even noticed. The store didn't close, didn't pause. The sale went on, and Derek stood there, watching people fight over discounted electronics while a child had nearly been crushed 10 feet away. He quit the next morning. Some things, he said, aren't worth the minimum wage and a free turkey. The second story is from a woman named Ashley. She was 19, college student. needed a laptop for her classes. Black Friday seemed like the only way she could afford one. She went with her boyfriend, Marcus. They arrived at 3 a.m., joined the line outside a department store in Ohio. The crowd was huge but manageable. People were talking, laughing, sharing thermoses of coffee. It felt almost festive, until the doors opened. Ashley said it was like a switch flipped. The moment the locks clicked, the crowd compressed. People in the back pushed forward. Those in the front had nowhere to go. She felt Marcus's hand slip out of hers. The pressure was unbearable. She couldn't move her arms, couldn't turn her head, could barely breathe. Bodies packed so tightly she felt her ribs bending inward. Someone screamed. Then someone else. Panic rippled through the crowd like electricity. People were trying to get out now, but the mass kept pushing in. A human wave with no way to stop itself. Ashley's feet left the ground. She was being carried forward, suspended by the bodies around her. She couldn't touch the floor, couldn't control her movement, just floating in the crush, gasping for air. She thought she was going to die. Then the pressure released. The crowd spilled into the store, spreading out, and she collapsed onto the tile floor, gasping. Her chest ached. Her vision swam. She looked around for Marcus and couldn't find him. She called his name. Nothing. The store was a blur of movement, people running in every direction. She stumbled through the aisles, shouting for him, and finally saw him near the back wall. He was sitting on the floor, pale, shaking. His shirt was torn. There was a bruise forming along his collarbone. He looked at her and said, "I thought I was going to be trampled." They left without buying anything, walked back to the car in silence. Ashley said she couldn't stop shaking for hours afterward. Even now, years later, she won't go near a crowded store, won't even shop online on Black Friday. The memory is too sharp. The third story involves a woman named Carla. She managed a clothing store in a mall in Texas. Small business, family-owned. They decided to do a Black Friday sale for the first time. Nothing huge, just some discounts on winter coats and boots. Carla opened the gates at 6 a.m. A small crowd waited outside, maybe 30 people. Polite, calm. She felt good about it. But within 20 minutes, something changed. A group of women came in, 6 of them, moving together. They spread out through the store, grabbing armfuls of coats. Carla approached them, smiling, asking if they needed help. One of the women looked at her and said, "We're fine." Then they walked out. Just walked out. Arms loaded with merchandise. No attempt to pay. No hesitation. Carla shouted after them, ran to the entrance. But they were already gone, disappearing into the crowd in the mall corridor. She called mall security. They said they'd look into it. Never did. Carla went back inside and realized it wasn't just those 6. Other people had been watching, seeing what happened, seeing that nothing stopped them. And then it started. People began taking things. Not everyone, but enough. A man stuffed jeans into a backpack. A teenager slipped a sweater under her coat. A couple walked out with boots they never paid for. Carla couldn't keep up. Couldn't watch everyone. Her one employee was overwhelmed. They called the police. By the time officers arrived, the store had lost nearly $4,000 in merchandise. The worst part? Carla recognized some of them. Regular customers, people she'd helped before, people who smiled and chatted and then stole from her when the moment allowed it. She closed the store 2 months later, couldn't recover from the loss, couldn't shake the feeling that people she trusted had taken advantage of the chaos. Black Friday didn't just hurt her business, it broke something deeper. The fourth story comes from a man named Joel. He was shopping with his elderly father. They went to a big electronics store in Georgia. His father wanted a new television, something small and simple. Joel promised to help him find one. They arrived early before the rush, got inside without issue, found the TV section, and that's when things shifted. A pallet of discounted televisions was wheeled out. 40-inch screens, marked down 70%. The crowd swarmed instantly. Joel's father was standing near the pallet when it happened. People rushed in from all sides, pushing, grabbing. Someone shoved his father aside, hard. The old man stumbled, lost his balance, fell backward onto the concrete floor. Joel heard the sound, a dull, sickening thud, his father's head hitting the ground. He dropped to his knees. His father was conscious, but dazed, blood pooling under his head. Joel screamed for help, shouted for someone to call an ambulance. People stepped around them, kept shopping, kept grabbing TVs. One man nearly tripped over Joel's father and cursed at them for being in the way. Joel lost it, started yelling, shoving people back. An employee finally came over, called 911. Paramedics arrived. His father was taken to the hospital with a concussion and a fractured skull. He survived, but he was never the same. The injury affected his balance, his memory. Joel said his father used to be sharp, independent. After that day, he needed help with everything. And the worst part? The store never apologized, never reached out, never acknowledged what happened. Just another incident in the Black Friday blur. Joel doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving anymore, can't separate it from that memory. The fifth story is short but haunting. It comes from a woman named Tina. She worked at a toy store in California. Black Friday morning. The doors opened. The crowd rushed in. And Tina saw a little girl, maybe 4 years old, standing alone in the middle of the chaos, crying, calling for her mom. Nobody stopped. The crowd parted around her like water around a stone. Tina ran over, scooped the girl up, took her to the back office, tried to calm her down, called for security to make an announcement. It took 45 minutes before the mother came looking. When she arrived, she wasn't frantic, wasn't apologetic. She was annoyed, said she'd been trying to grab a doll her daughter wanted and couldn't leave the line. Tina just stared at her, handed the girl over, watched them leave. She said she thinks about that little girl sometimes, wonders if she remembers being lost, being surrounded by strangers who didn't stop, didn't care. Tina quit retail after that year, said she couldn't look at crowds the same way. The sixth story comes from a man named Andre. He was a stock worker, overnight shift. His job was to set up displays, organize inventory before the doors opened. Around 3 a.m., he was in the back storage area. The store was quiet, just a few employees preparing. He was moving boxes when he heard something. A scraping sound, metal on concrete, coming from the loading dock. He walked over, looked through the small window in the door, saw nothing, opened the door to check, and froze. A man was standing there, just standing, in the dark, in the employee-only area, staring at the door. Andre asked what he was doing, how he got back there. The man didn't answer, just stood there, breathing. Andre backed up, locked the door, called his manager. By the time security arrived, the man was gone. They checked the cameras. The man had been standing there for over 20 minutes, just waiting, watching. They never found out who he was, never found out how he got in. The loading dock was supposed to be secure. Andre said he couldn't shake the feeling that the man had been waiting for the doors to open, waiting to slip inside with the crowd, and that if Andre hadn't seen him, something worse might have happened. He requested a transfer. Didn't work Black Friday again. The seventh story is from a woman named Michelle. She was shopping with her teenage daughter. They were at a mall in Florida, looking for clothes. The crowds were thick, but not unmanageable. They were in a department store when the fire alarm went off. At first, nobody moved. People assumed it was a mistake, a test. But then smoke started drifting down from the ceiling. Thin, gray, acrid. The announcement came over the speakers. Evacuate immediately! And that's when it turned. People started running, not toward the exits, toward the registers, trying to pay before they had to leave, refusing to abandon their carts. Michelle grabbed her daughter's hand and headed for the door. But the crowd was moving in both directions. Some trying to leave, others pushing deeper into the store. Chaos, shoving, screaming. Michelle and her daughter got separated in the crush. Michelle was pushed toward the exit. Her daughter was swept the other way. Michelle screamed her name, fought against the crowd. Security was yelling for people to move. The smoke was getting thicker. Michelle finally broke free, ran back inside, found her daughter near the shoe section, crouched down, crying, covering her mouth. Michelle pulled her up. They ran together, made it outside. The fire department was already there. Turns out it was a small electrical fire in the food court, contained quickly. But Michelle said the part that haunted her wasn't the fire. It was the people who didn't leave, who kept shopping even as the alarms blared, who valued a discount over their own safety. She said she realized that day how thin the line is, how quickly people can lose their sense of reason. The 8th story comes from a man named Kevin. He was a manager at a grocery store. Black Friday wasn't usually a big deal for groceries, but they ran a promotion on turkeys and hams. Steep discounts, limited quantity. The store opened at 7 a.m. By 6:30, the crowd outside was massive. Kevin felt uneasy. They'd never had this kind of turnout before. When the doors opened, people rushed the meat section, wiped it out in minutes. And then the fight started. A woman accused another woman of taking her turkey. They argued, loud, aggressive. Then one of them swung, hit the other woman in the face. Kevin called the police, but before they arrived, it escalated. More people got involved. Sides were taken, insults, shoving. One man threw a frozen ham at someone. It sounds absurd, almost funny, but Kevin said it was terrifying. Watching grown adults lose control over meat, over something so trivial. The police broke it up. Several people were escorted out. One woman was arrested for assault. Kevin said the store was trashed, blood on the floor, displays destroyed. And after everything settled, he found a little boy sitting in one of the aisles, alone, crying. His mother had been arrested, left him there. Kevin stayed with him until child services arrived. He said he'll never forget the look on that kid's face. Confusion, fear, wondering why his mom wasn't there. Kevin transferred to a different location a month later. Said he couldn't work there anymore. Couldn't walk past that aisle without seeing that boy. The 9th story is the one that started this. The woman who lost her daughter. Her name is Rachel. She was shopping at a big retail store in Virginia. Her daughter, Emma, was 8. They'd been looking forward to this. A tradition. Shopping together the morning after Thanksgiving. The doors opened early. The crowd surged. Rachel held Emma's hand tight, but the pressure was too much. The crowd too dense. Her grip slipped. Just for a second, and Emma was gone. Rachel screamed her name, pushed through the crowd, looked everywhere, aisles, bathrooms, outside. Security made announcements, locked the doors, searched the store. 15 minutes passed, the longest 15 minutes of Rachel's life. Then someone found Emma. She was in a storage room, alone, sitting on a pallet of boxes, crying. She said a man had taken her hand, told her he'd help her find her mom, led her to the back of the store, told her to wait there, and then he left. The cameras caught him. A man in a gray hoodie, face obscured. He walked out of the store and disappeared into the parking lot. They never found him. Rachel said Emma was okay. physically, but she wouldn't sleep alone for months. Wouldn't go into stores, wouldn't talk about what happened. Rachel still doesn't know what that man intended. If he was just trying to help and got scared, or if something darker was stopped by chance. She said she doesn't shop on Black Friday anymore. Won't let Emma out of her sight in public. And every year, when the ads start running, when the sales begin, she feels that same sick weight in her stomach. The memory of losing her daughter in a crowd that didn't care. 9 stories, 9 moments when shopping turned into something else, when the promise of a deal became a nightmare. Some people walked away with bruises, others with trauma. A few didn't walk away at all. And the worst part? Most of these stories never made the news, never got attention. They're just memories now, carried by the people who lived them. But they're real, and they're a reminder that sometimes the scariest thing isn't what's lurking in the dark. It's what happens when we forget to see each other as human. When a discount becomes more important than the person standing next to you. When chaos is just 2 minutes away. If this story made your heart race, hit that like button and subscribe. Because here at Chills from Reality, the fear doesn't end when the story does. And trust me, there are more stories out there. More moments that slip through the cracks. More truths that need to be told. Stay safe out there. And remember, the next time you're in a crowd, look around, pay attention. Because you never know when everything might fall apart.